You're listening to the Mind Podcast.
Hi guys, today's guest gives us a glimpse of what it's like for a male to go through disordered eating and body dysmorphia. So would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Nathan Freihofer. I'm 24. I'm in Georgia right now, and I'm a field artillery officer in the Army. So it kind of covers that.
Exactly. What's your journey been with mental health?
I would say so. I would say it started off with a while, probably in high school. Was like a super skinny kid. And had this weird combination of stuff happen to me where it was like I had gotten some thyroid issues, some stuff like that, and then had somehow gotten like a parvovirus, which I only thought that dogs got.
Yeah.
But apparently not. The doctor said I had that. Yeah. So essentially, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that kind of just wrecked my like hormones, a bunch of stuff. So essentially, it was like lost a whole bunch of weight really quick. I was always kind of like a naturally gifted athlete, kind of pretty decent at whatever I tried. And then just kind of near the top, and just after that, it just like wrecked my body and just downhill with that. And you're thinking that a freshman kid coming in high school and stuff. Not I didn't think I was all that, but definitely had potential to do some really cool stuff like that. And then just got wrecked instantly. Has no clue what's going on. The doctors don't know and stuff. So yeah, I just got really skinny. Was probably like 120 something pounds. And then started struggling with like a little bit of like almost like a little eating disorder type thing. Never classified as that, but it was definitely borderline some eating issues. Because in my mind, you're thinking I'm a type of person who always tries to like kind of analyze stuff and fix my own problems. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, my running's slower, right? I used to be able to run super quick. I used to be able to beat the fastest kid, whatever, and these kids are beating me now. What's going on? In my mind, like I'm thinking, well, maybe if I lose weight, right? Maybe if I lose a little bit of weight, then I'll be quicker, right? I'll be quicker. And it started, it slowly did that, is that type of gig where it's like, maybe I'll lose a little bit of weight, or maybe if I start kind of controlling what I eat and stuff. And that kind of carried all the way through probably until sophomore year of college, really. So it was a good few years, few big development years and stuff. And you're thinking a lot of that's a big growth time for teenagers and just regular people and stuff like that. So you're thinking dealing with that, on top of school, on top of sports, and trying to develop as your own person and stuff. Definitely threw a big old hamper into things for sure. And that obviously affects friendships and family relationships and stuff. So yeah, definitely kind of struggled with the eating stuff, up until like I said, sophomore year of college and stuff like that, before I finally kind of like flipped the switch and got out of that. But yeah, that's kind of, I would say, definitely where a lot of it started, and kind of I'd say my like mental health journey, if you want to call it, because I know a lot of people kind of struggle with the same stuff, especially a lot of girls, but especially a lot of dudes who don't want to say that they do, because it's as a man, it's like, oh, we got to be tough, and it's kind of not what many guys share or whatever. So definitely kind of that's kind of how it started, and kind of how where mine kind of boils down to.
So you said you had already lost a lot of weight. When you first started thinking, well, maybe I should lose more weight, were you already very thin?
I was thinking I was like, I haven't grown since like eighth grade. I'm 5'10", so I'm not like the crazy tall dude, but I was like 130 something pounds, 135, 140. Really, kind of a regular build of a kid going into high school and stuff. But then it's like once all the stuff hit I had a hyperthyroidism to my hype, so my thyroid would go crazy. My metabolism shot through the roof. Lost a lot of weight, and my thyroid, it would go to hypothyroidism, because the doctors are giving medicine to like lower it because it's too high, and then they overshot it and undershot it. So my thyroid's going up and down and up, and it's messing up everything in my body and stuff. So but yeah, I lost a lot of weight, and then it was more of in my mind, it was like, maybe if I lose a little bit of weight and control, maybe like I was like, I can't gain 5 pounds, because then I'm gonna get slower, right? And back then I didn't realize, like, oh, I'm what am I now? I'm 60 pounds heavier than I was then, at least, and I'm faster stride, everything. I didn't realize it didn't click. It didn't click with me that, maybe, the extra weight, would help me out and stuff. So like I said, I became a very almost like obsessive about, like food and how I looked and stuff. And it was like never enough. So yeah, that kind of developed a really obsessive kind of, personality over that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you already, do you feel like you already had some obsessive tendencies before?
Yeah, not a bad ones. Definitely, I'd say kind of runs in the family. Not like bad ones, but very kind of like, obsessive of like, work. You always, kind of work in a work ethic. We like my whole entire family, hard workers and stuff. So that kind of where it stems from. And I know a couple of my people kind of had the same stuff. But I said I never thought I did. But yeah, we have definitely kind of have like an obsessive personality of like, working and trying to put our best, like work. We really don't like take a whole lot of breaks and stuff. So that definitely, I would say, kind of fed into that for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So were you like super restricting calories or binging, purging,
I would say
anything
both. I
in
never,
particular
yeah,
that you would do?
yeah, I never purged, so I never like, yacked it up or anything. But I would definitely go through phases of what I would do. I would definitely restrict it all throughout the day. Definitely watch what I eat. I would like sneak throwing away food and stuff like that. Kind of it's stuff that a lot of people doing the same exact thing. Definitely kind of throwing away, restricting. Taking away bread off of stuff. Say like if it was a burger, I purposely wouldn't have a bun. In my mind, it's like, well, maybe I can take a little bit off this, a little bit off of this, and I would kind of restrict it all throughout the day, or a couple days, and then at night would be where I would, just binge and eat a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I never purged, but definitely went through phases of restricting what I ate for sure. In my mind, I always kind of knew, and almost I never tracked calories or anything, but I kind of knew the amount I was eating, and then I would just overload at night. And then you're thinking, your body's not used to it. You feel bloated, you feel sick and gross, so then you don't feel like eating. I mean, you're already, at this point you need to eat, but you feel gross, so you don't eat throughout the day, and then you binge again at night, and then it just rinse and repeat the cycle, and you go and go, and it's a never-ending cycle, and it takes like an almost little it almost takes a slap in the face almost to get out of it.
So how did you get out of it? I know
So
you
I
said it
would,
went on for quite a
yeah,
while.
yeah, years. I said all the way through. I said I would say really peaked off really halfway through freshman year of high school to sophomore, so kind of in that area, and then all the way through like sophomore year of college. They say because all this time I was still working out and stuff, and I was like a really good runner. I was like a really solid runner, really good. Could have probably ran for my college, but I was doing the Army RTC program at the same time, so I just couldn't balance it. But running a ton, stud runner and everything, doing tons of distance and everything like that, and then got a whole bunch of stress fractures in my leg and couldn't run and couldn't do cardio or anything like that. And I'd always watched kind of like, yeah, so definitely like say cardio out the window for like a month, 2 months. Am I back?
Uh-oh.
Okay, we're good now.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, so like a period of month, 2 months, couldn't run. It was out. My leg jacked up just because it was so much, so much rucking, running and stuff, overloaded it. And then I'd always been watching kind of like those YouTube fitness stuff that, these 17, 18, 19-year-old kids just lifting, crazy weights and stuff. And so I was like, well, and I, like I said, I'd always worked out and stuff, but I was like, maybe I'll really give it a shot, especially since I can't run or whatever. And I was just, I wouldn't say I ate, more. Maybe I did a little bit during that time, but it was just the fact that I cut off all the cardio, all that calories I was burning out, I just didn't burn anymore. And I remember the one thing that kind of clicked in my head was we're doing PT or something in RTC, so like the six in the morning workouts and stuff, and it was probably like a couple weeks after I just couldn't run, and someone was like, dang, Freihofer, your arms are looking bigger, and I was like, oh, I was like, that's cool. Like I was like, that's never happened before, and that was kind of the thing, and I was like, whoa, maybe I was like, maybe there's something, something to this, and then I started really kind of training for like strength and stuff. Kind of like, instead of just doing kind of like the normal workouts, I was really kind of almost went into powerlifting and stuff to where I could see get my weights up and stuff. And it was just a mix of that. I would say that was kind of the tipping point where I was like, oh man, someone noticed, like, because when you're always looking at yourself in the mirror and you kind of have this issue, like you always think you're crazy, or you almost think you're like you're fat or
Oh
you're
yeah.
skinny, and it goes between the both, and it's just a mental game. But yeah, that was kind of the tipping point. I was like, oh, maybe there's something, maybe there's something to this or whatever. And then, started doing this. And then, as my leg healed, slowly introduced, the regular running, never went crazy again over it and stuff like that. But that was kind of the tipping point where I was like, oh, maybe I was like, I'm seeing changes in my body now. This is really cool. And then it was like, as the time went on, like became less obsessive, like, because before it was like, I could never miss a workout, always sneaking in stuff. I would run up and down stairs, just to like burn calories and stuff. And now it's like,
Oh my.
yeah, just crazy stuff. Right. And now it's like, if I needed to, I could go 3-4 days, without a workout. Cause I know that like I have pretty much full control of my body and how I want it to look at this point and maintain stuff, which is a very kind of like calming and comforting, feeling before. Cause before you like,
Right.
I was struggling to get to that point and I felt out of control and stuff. And now it's like, seeing that, and like it's the same thing where like back then people were telling me the stuff that I'm doing now. And back then I was I'm a knucklehead, I'm stubborn, I'm like, no, you're not right, that type of thing. I'm not going to take advice from anyone, and it was, definitely a thing where probably no one else could have helped me through it. I had to do it myself type thing to prove to myself that, I can make the change and
Yeah.
stuff. But, they'd be like, so I was doing nothing different than everyone else was telling me, but, it was cool. It was once I was putting those into practice and seeing the changes like mentally and physically, kind of come together was when, like I said, kind of definitely turned totally around and stuff. And now it's just, been uphill, from there.
Right. So after, how did that change your eating habits though? Did you realize you needed more fuel since you were
Yeah.
lifting?
Yeah. Cause I was thinking, I was like, I'm not eating enough. I'm not getting stronger. It was definitely a lot about, how can I get stronger type stuff. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, if I eat all my stuff at night, I feel like garbage. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, man. Then now it's like, let's start eating a little bit in the morning and see how I felt. It was a lot of experimenting. Like I said, it wasn't an overnight thing, really. It was a years of process and trial and error. And, maybe could have done it a better way for sure, probably. But yeah, a lot of trial and error on my part and moving, being like, oh, maybe if I eat more here, eat more calories, and then I do that, and then I would see the change that I want. And I'm like, oh, it makes sense. It clicked because I'm a biology. I have a biology degree. I'm a very kind of scientific,
Mm.
person. So almost using myself as a test subject type thing. But yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lot of trial and error over years. Yeah, so definitely not a short. Definitely not a. It didn't happen overnight. That's for sure. So.
When you first started struggling, did anyone notice? Did your family notice? Like, hey, there's something off about you. Your eating habits have
Yeah,
changed drastically.
yeah, yeah. I think my mom noticed at first, but like I said, it was weird. It was a weird case because I had the thyroid issue, and nothing. The thyroid and the parvo, like I said, a weird thing they'd never really seen before. But nothing I could have done could have prevented that. That was just a random bad thing that happened, right? So I was losing the weight, and everyone's thinking, and partly it was because of the the thyroid problems. I was losing weight, so everyone's thinking, my family, they knew I was losing weight, but it's like, oh, because his thyroid's crazy, his metabolism, which is true. But then
Mhm.
once they fixed the metabolism, that probably, I would say I was on thyroid pills for 6 months maybe or something like that before it finally, leveled out and got it back to normal. But then in their mind, they're thinking, okay, the thyroid's good, so why is he not gaining weight, right? You'd think once the problem was fixed, he'd get back to where he was, and you're thinking, and like I said, I was always a good athlete, and I was a really good athlete and stuff. So then my parents were thinking, like, why is he still, a lot slower than he was before? Why is he, So it's kind of raising those questions after and stuff. And then I would think it was definitely my mom, first, maybe, who noticed. I'd say it was so long ago. Definitely, she would like kind of bring up stuff about eating and stuff, and maybe I said back then I probably didn't realize I was at the beginning. I probably didn't realize I was doing it, like restricting calories. It was almost kind of like an unconscious thing. But as time went on, where, she would kind of bring it up, I would get defensive, and I was like, oh crap, and I am doing this. She's right. I didn't want her to be right was the thing. I knew she was, I'd
Yeah.
say, yeah, which is the thing. Cause
Yeah.
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. That's why not a lot of people talk about it. It's embarrassing. You're thinking like, I'm a good athlete, and I'm a dude struggling with eating food, it's not a normal thing that people talk about. So, and as time went on, then like,
Yeah.
she brought it up to my dad, who, didn't think anything of it first, who but become to know and stuff. Then my family knew. And then I would say definitely, my friends started to notice a thing. And, thank God that they were, good. I've had a good solid friend group since, middle school through high school through college, the same group of dudes and stuff that I still talk to today and everything. And yeah, thank God they didn't, dip on me and stuff. They kind of let me do my thing, said they'd
Right.
always, and I would do the thing where, like I said, it was restricting the calories, and it was like I wouldn't let myself go out, hang out with them and stuff like that. And it was definitely kind of like almost isolating
Yeah.
myself. So that's why I say it was definitely kind of ruined my development period almost, because it's like, I missed a lot of, the high school, college experiences and stuff, because I was like, purposely isolating myself, and they would every single time they would always offer, whatever, hey, we're going out, do you want to come? And I would always be like, I always make up some excuse, some dumb excuse that wasn't real or whatever, but they would always offer. So like I said, so thank God that they stuck with me and stuff. But yeah, definitely people started to notice, and no one outright said anything. And like every once in a while they'll kind of throw a comment in and stuff like that, and I would get defensive. But yeah, after a little bit, after like a year and a half, 2 years, I'd say, most people knew something was, they may have not known exactly, but they knew something was up. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do you not? Because you figure after that time,
exactly.
hopefully your thyroid had have healed, and I don't know how they get rid
Yeah.
of parvo. I,
Yeah, that just kind of ran. It was
I,
a weird thing. It was almost, they described it as, imagine having mono, and this is what it felt like. Imagine having mono, but like for a year, instead of like, sometimes people have mono for like a month or 2 months. It felt like I had mono for a year, and eventually just got out of my system. So that kind of fixed itself. The thyroid, I would say the
wow.
thyroid was done halfway through sophomore year, maybe beginning of junior year. But then after that, that's still another 3 years of, slowly going up and down with this little, mental food battle. So
Right. So I know you touched a lot on isolation. While you isolated yourself, did you find yourself becoming either more anxious or more depressed than you
oh
feel
yeah,
you might not have been had you socialized?
oh yeah, for sure. Just definitely anxious, and you always get. I got the feeling that, like say, 'cause I noticed that other people were noticing this about me, and then I kind of, I'd always get the feeling that people were watching me. So like you said, you get the anxious. I'm like, oh, are people watching me, and that sort of thing. Almost kind of not crazy paranoid, but to an extent. Yeah, I definitely got, depressed or whatever, for sure. And then, it feeds into the cycle, like say, 'cause I mean, I like working out because it's, I like doing it, and it's a distressor. So, I get stressed, I work out, and it just, helped feed the bad cycle I was already in, so which definitely didn't help. So like I said, obviously definitely
Right.
took me a little bit, definitely took me a long time to, kind of get out of that, for sure. And that was, like I said, after I kind of, the switch got flipped. It was like, oh, maybe I'll actually go out with my friends. And then I did a little bit, and I was like, oh, nothing's nothing bad has happened to me. I'll maybe go out once
Mhm.
or twice more with them, because it's very, very slow healing process, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. But it sounds like you needed it, you know.
Yeah, for
That's what
sure.
kind of
Yo,
pushed you.
oh yeah. And like I said,
Um,
I don't, yeah.
you can go ahead. You can finish.
I was gonna
You
say,
don't
yeah.
want.
I was gonna say, and if I probably, if I could do it all over again, I don't know if I would change it, because like it definitely taught me a lot about myself and stuff, and it taught me a whole lot, just a
Mhm.
whole lot of stuff, whole lot about, like, how I think, how I click and tick, and how my brain works, and how, I can, control my body and stuff. So definitely, wish it wouldn't have happened, for that long period of time, because I definitely missed out on a whole lot of opportunities for sure. But definitely think it taught me a lot, especially kind of, since I came out, kind of came out on top at the end for sure. So definitely, it was definitely, like I said,
Yeah.
it was a brutal experience, but definitely, I think, definitely a good learning one for sure.
Yeah. Sometimes we have those ones where it's like, oh, glad I learned that. It wasn't that bad. And oh, I'm glad
Yeah,
I learned what I learned in the end, but that was no fun.
yeah, exactly. Oh, I said
So you,
definitely not fun. Definitely not fun.
no. Um, did you seek any like professional help from
Yeah,
like an
yes. My
actual
mom took me
therapist?
to. Yeah, so we went to a couple therapists, and like a nutritionist, and but like I said, I'm so boneheaded. I'm a stubborn dude. They didn't, like, say I would go to them and they would talk, and I would say the nutritionist didn't really, didn't really help that much, because they were all about, really kind of like telling me exactly what to eat and when I would eat and stuff, and I was just not, it was not about that or whatever. And so that really didn't help. But and then, yeah, we cycled through, I'd say maybe three or three or four different therapists. We'd go to one for like a couple weeks, and they would be like, we can't really help them, and they would, dip me off to another, and then, another, and sort of thing and stuff. um but yeah, so none of the stuff, because like I said, I don't know, like I said, my case was a little different. It was just, it wasn't like anorexia or anything. It was fueled
Mhm.
by me just wanting to get better, which is the kind of thing, the hard to deal with, because I'm like, I want to get faster, stronger, and I want to be able to, like, get back to where I was and compete. So I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And they're used to dealing with, people that are just trying to, like, you know, not gain weight. And it was kind of similar, but slightly different, to where none of them were really, able to help me, type thing. So, like, say afterwards, we just kind of stopped going to them. I'd say we stopped going to them after high school, I think. So after
Okay.
college, I just kind of, did my we went to classes, RTC, and everything like that. So, but yeah, I would say after high school, we stopped going to this therapist. And maybe they said some good stuff. Like I said, what they said made sense for sure. It was just, I wasn't
Hmm.
I wasn't I wasn't in the mood to listen to them back then for sure. So,
Right.
I was not having it. In my mind, I was right and everyone else was wrong, which was the thing. So, which obviously was not the case. But that's what high school Nathan thought back then, was that he had it all right, everyone else is wrong and stupid. That I knew what was, good for me, which, like I said, when you're in it, you know you almost have to take a step back, and, to look at the whole situation and
Hmm.
realize, kind of like, oh, maybe I'm the one that's messed up. But when you're in it, you don't see all the bad things. Everyone else is an enemy type thing and stuff, and it feeds into, kind of the anxious, depressive type stuff. So, like I said, a lot of stuff going on back then. So yeah, I would say definitely, yeah, therapist, went to a couple, but yeah, none of them really helped at all, honestly.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it's kind of good because now you built your own tools to deal with whatever ails you.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said,
So
that's why
that's,
I'm
in
yeah,
my mind, that's helpful.
yeah, that's why I'm glad that, I went through it, like I said, because like I said, I developed my own tools. I developed my own ways to kind of fix that issue. Um, and, prove to myself that I can do it. And it wasn't, at the end of the day, I'm the one that fixed it. It was my problem, and I'm the one that fixed it. Which in my mind, like I said,
Hmm.
God forbid, which I don't think it ever will, but, maybe, there was a relapse or something. I know I can fix it. I know I did it once, I can do it again.
Hmm.
I know if I do these things, I'll turn out, to where I am right now, which is a lot, comforting, and a lot more, confident than it was before. So,
Right. So you're pretty big on social media. Do you feel like that's affected your body image at all? Putting yourself
not
out there like that?
not crazy. Surprisingly, you'd think that a lot of people, I'm sure it does for a lot of people, especially females and stuff.
Hmm.
But surprisingly not. Like I said, I've always, I was, doing the same stuff I'm doing now before all it started. Like, so I've been on really social media for, doing what I do now for like a year now. Um, But I would say, yeah, I mean, maybe to like, oh, make sure I, look good, but really, I don't really care. Like I said, I've, like I said, going through that whole entire process, I am completely comfortable and confident in, my body. And say like if I was trying to, gain a lot of weight to get stronger, and my abs disappear or some stuff like that. In my mind, I know I would be fine with that because I know I could get back to where I was before. So luckily, it hasn't for sure. But I know it does put a big toll on some other people to always look, their best, and that's when they put in the Photoshop and all that other stuff. Like I said, I've never done that. I don't care. I don't care for that. So, and especially because not all I do is fitness stuff. It's definitely a big part of my life, but that's not, all I do for sure. I kind of, I've kind of branched myself off to, be like a personality versus a just like a look type person. So, which I think is better. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, looks fade and personality is
exactly.
forever.
Yeah, I feel like I can hit a lot more people. I can help a lot more people, I think, that way than just being, the fitness guy, So I'd rather be a person, who's relatable, that's, also smart and good at the fitness stuff. That way, if that hits that niche and people want to know about that stuff, they can ask me and I can help them. Because I've gotten a lot of messages from people and stuff who, struggle with the same stuff as me. Like in case occasionally I'll put out a video about like the stuff we're talking about, and I'll get, individual messages about, it's the same. It's like reading stuff that I would have typed, back then, being like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with the same thing. Don't want people to know, I'm embarrassed, that sort of thing. So it's like, I definitely
Right.
can, helps with that for sure.
So, I mean, you seem very confident, and I know you said you've always had confidence, but do you feel like how could you explain how you keep your confidence up? Like for other people.
Ooh. Like say I wasn't saying, so I've always been, yeah, that's kind of a tough one. I've always been a confident person, but back then when all the stuff was going on, it was not, extremely antisocial, isolated, not confident person at all. And it was, once, like I said, once I was starting getting good at the lifting and starting, being proud of what I kind of built type thing, that's where the confidence came from. I've always had like a outgoing personality, but that's when I really kind of started to show it to, kind of where it is, now, because me now versus me in high school is, it's really the same person, but definitely different how I kind of project myself and the way I carry myself and everything. So I would say it's definitely, I really, confidence is a lot about, being, kind of true to who you are and not really caring what other people think, because people are always going to have your opinions on you and stuff. And,
Right.
there's always going to be people that don't like you no matter what. As long as you're confident and like,
Yeah.
you truly believe what you're doing, right. Then that stuff doesn't matter, honestly. So like, it's just about, knowing who you are and, staying in for good stuff and, kind of staying true to that. Cause like I said, people are always going to pepper some dumb stuff at you. And, you just kind of gotta, let it hit you and run off type thing. So,
Right. Right. I'm sure you get your fair share of hate
oh yeah,
comments
all the time,
on various platforms.
Oh yeah. Yes. I've got,
Do you usually
Instagram.
just brush it off?
Yeah, some of them I say no, they not gonna. Some of them get to me for sure, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, there's for every one bad thing, there's a lot more good things type the stuff. Which in my mind, I'm like, oh, that means I'm helping people. That means I'm doing some good. So it kind of uh makes up for the bad stuff. People are like, oh, I hope you die. It's like, whatever. So like, definitely helps.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gotten a lot of those. It don't matter. I don't care at this point. So like I said, for every one of those, there's 100 good ones. So at the end of the day, it gets easy
Yeah.
to scroll past them and stuff. So like I said, at the end of the day, I know
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in what I'm doing, so it doesn't bother me too much.
I'm sure you build up a tolerance to that too. Like
Hmm.
it just becomes some more words on a page, no big
Oh yeah.
deal.
At the moment, I think it's more words on a page. I'm like, hey, if they comment, that means it's more engagement for my video. So there you go. Thank you for helping me out, my guy.
Right?
So
Right?
yeah. So at the end, I'm
Hey,
winning.
that's a
So
great way to look at it.
yeah. So I'll take all
Right.
the help I can get right there. For sure.
Even though you say you wouldn't change anything, what do you think is some good advice you'd give to yourself when you were at your darkest point?
Ooh. That's a deep question. Dang. Okay. I would say that one that definitely you'll get through it to just take a risk, right? Take a risk because back then,
Mm.
definitely, yeah, take the risk for sure. Because definitely a risk. Like I said, back then, it's like in my mind, I'm a really skinny kid. I'm thinking if I eat something, if I eat a little bit, I'm gonna get fat. That's what it was. It was I'm gonna eat a little bit more, I'm gonna get fat. And obviously biologically, it's not gonna work that way, right? My
Yeah.
metabolism's already going crazy enough. I'm a dude with hyperthyroidism going through puberty. Like, I could eat anything and I wouldn't gain weight. But back then I didn't know it. So,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, definitely just, take the risk. Cause I was thinking like I said, back then it was either if I was gonna eat, I would either get to where I would want to be, which is where now I'd be able to put on, healthy weight and get better mentally, or I'd get fat. Those are your two
Mm-hmm.
two choices. So why not take the risk, right? Take the risk because it can either turn out really
Yeah.
good, or say like which it wouldn't happen. But so what? You get fat, dude. Nathan, you're struggling with an eating disorder. You're super good at losing weight. You could lose that really quick, obviously, with all the dumb stuff you're doing. So take the risk because what's the worst that could happen? Honestly, there's a lot more
Yeah.
upside for sure to trying it out, and obviously what you're doing now is not right. Is not helping out. It's like I've been doing the same thing for years and none of it was helping. So why it's time for something new. Take that risk for sure and see what happens. So
Right. Do you feel like some of this could have been avoided with more education on the subject?
probably,
Like
yeah,
not like nutrition and mental health.
yeah. Because like I say, because it's like I never thought I'd struggle with something like this at all. Come from like I said, a really strong, hardworking family and stuff. So having an eating disorder type thing is not never crossed my mind. So yeah, definitely I'd say if I definitely knew about it, um, and maybe like I said, maybe if the other people that are trying to help me out went in a different way, like say because all my family is kind of hardwired the same way. Like I said, we see a problem, we fix it, and so my family saw the
Mm-hmm.
problem, we're gonna fix it, keep pumping that stuff until we fix the problem. Maybe it was definitely a both sided thing. Maybe they went about it a different way and I was better at receiving
Yeah.
their advice and what people were telling me for sure. Maybe not avoided, maybe a little bit void, but definitely could have, sped up the process of me getting over it quick instead of years, may have been, months type thing for sure. Instead of me being, not, completely closed out to anyone's ideas but mine, because that's what it was. Like I said before, it was, I was right and everyone else is wrong, which was not the case. So, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, I think more education and just kind of knowledge and awareness. I think definitely awareness
Oh
that
yeah.
this is a thing could be helpful. And like I said, I watched, there was another who I really when I was going through the whole thing, there was another kind of like YouTube dude who put out YouTube video about this kind of same thing. He was a his name's Nick Bear. He's like he was an army officer, infantry guy. He was the same thing, struggled with an eating disorder before, during college and stuff, over a commission. I would watch that and then and he was like 220 pounds solid muscle. So I would watch that and I'd look at the
Wow.
skinny dude he was and see now. And that in my mind, I was like, I would see that and I'd be like, there's hope, right? There's a chance, right? So it
Right.
was doing that with taking that risk, all kind of combined together and stuff was what I think kind of fixed it. So I think definitely if I saw more, guys, kind of stories stuff would have helped because I know like from a guy looking at a girl looking at girls eating disorder and stuff, girls struggling with it, it doesn't help at all. To be
Yeah.
perfectly honest, it doesn't help me at all. It could help girls, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's I look at it and I'd be like, that's not me, right?
Right.
I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with something different because I'm a guy.
Yeah.
In reality, it's the same thing. So I think definitely if there was more kind of guy perspectives on it, and
Mm-hmm.
there's more guys willing to share, because I know there's more guys that deal with it and they just never talk about it, and I think it would have helped, a
Oh
lot.
yeah. Oh yeah. I
So
think I I don't know. I'm not in school, obviously, high
yeah.
school anymore. Um, but I wonder, I have heard that they're trying to make it a little more, that information a little more readily available. And I feel like social media and things like this have really helped kind of open the door for people to even just learn, even if they're
Yeah.
not struggling.
they said just to help, yeah, just to, because I'm sure there's still good advice, and everything. But yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
think if we could kind of push that more aspect a little bit, it would definitely help. Especially for because a lot of these questions are that I do get a bit about this subject are from kids in high school.
Oh wow.
It's always a lot of that stuff or whatever. So I feel like it's a lot more common than we think for sure.
Oh
And like I
yeah.
said, it's just that everyone hides it. So hopefully, like I said, if there's more, classes or more they, or if they're talking about this in school, putting more guy perspective on it, or like, 50-50 guy girl type thing, I think it would definitely be very beneficial for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Anybody. I mean, especially in your teenage years, that's when you're
Yeah.
figuring out who you are, what you're
Yeah.
supposed to look like, what you're supposed to
Yeah.
do, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Now, what are some of the questions that you get, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so it's I'd say a lot of stuff. It's like, a lot of it's like, how do I gain weight? Um, because I don't want to lose my abs and stuff, or some things like that are like, hey man, I'm struggling with eating, and like, I don't feel like I can eat a whole lot, or like, stuff like
Mm,
I don't want to eat because I don't want to get fat and lose my abs. And these are kids that are like 130 pounds and they have abs because they're skinny. That's what it is. And I had
right.
that. And if you're skinny, that's another thing you have to get over, because you look at yourself, you're like, man, I got some muscle, right? I can see it. No, you can see it because you're super skinny. That's why.
Right.
It took me a long time to realize that. But a lot of it's that. It's like, hey, I want to gain weight because I do want to get bigger, and that's kind of the same process as me. It's like I wasn't against gaining weight. I want to gain weight, but I don't want to gain any fat at all. And
Right.
I didn't realize that, oh, I can gain weight and still look good, because I'm just not gonna. That's not the way it works. I'm not gonna eat and just get fat. Like I'm gonna build muscle everywhere, gain a little bit of fat, but overall I'll look better. And so yeah, a lot of the questions is, how do I gain weight without losing my abs, because I want to be shredded and stuff like that, and a lot of that stuff. And what I keep telling people, I'm like, dude, you gotta eat. There's no magic pill, right? They're always like, what
Mm-hmm.
supplements do you take? I'm like, dude, I just eat a lot of peanut butter and stuff, honestly, man. Like, that's honestly what it is. My thing is Cheez-Its and peanut butter is what I eat. And people are like, no
Together?
way you eat that. Oh yeah, it's the good combo. You got to try it. It's
Okay.
great. It's great.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah, but I keep trying to hammer in on them. I'm like, yeah, you just like I said, I told them what I told you before. I'm like, just take the risk. Just eat more, work out, try to get stronger. I'm like, you're a guy. You're going through high school. You're going through puberty. Half of you could not even work out at all and just eat, and you'll grow bigger, because it's just the way the body works. That's
right.
just the way. That's just the way dudes are built. Um, but yeah, a lot of that is the people are scared of getting fat. A lot of dudes are, especially now, because fitness is a really big thing that's peppered on Instagram
Yeah.
and YouTube and TikTok now and stuff. And they see these big old shredded dudes that now it's a lot of them. A lot of the big people are 19, 20, 21 years old and stuff, that are kind of like the main faces and stuff. So you have these 15, 16-year-old kids looking up to these 19-year-old, 20-year-old dudes and being like, oh, I want to be like them, super shredded and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
they don't realize that, that's not how it works. Right. So they're super scared of gaining an ounce of fat, and that's what I worry. I worry that's going to trigger some stuff, so
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how
yeah.
can it not? Especially if you don't have, because they see him and they see, sure, maybe they do some workouts here and there, but they don't, that's just such a small portion of their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can only imagine what's going through their mind. It's like, oh yeah, they probably don't eat, or if they eat, they're just eating one big meal a
Yeah.
day of
One thing, that's
protein.
it. Yeah, that's it. That's what they think, right? And then they copy what they think, and that's kind of what starts, the bad habits. And doing some of that stuff necessarily isn't bad, but it's just like, if it becomes a bad habit that you do repeatedly over and over and over again, that's what starts that bad cycle, which could lead to some of these eating issues. So
Right, right. And I mean, for you, they lasted a long
yeah, they
time.
last a while. Yeah, they last a long time. Like I said, yeah, it lasted years, years and years and years, probably at least 4 years. I say it probably lasted, some sort of, different degrees, but definitely 4 years for sure. So, and some people last longer. Some people last, decades, that always never get out of it, So thank God I was able to, get out of that circle. But yeah, so it can last a lot of time for some people.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really unfortunate actually. Um, Now were you in the military before you, I'm going to use the term recovered. Um, were you in the military or were
So
you?
what so what I did, I through college, I did the ROTC program. So essentially as you're doing college, um, you do like Army kind of classes and training all the way through college. And at the end, that's when you commission to become an
Okay.
officer. So it's different from like an enlisted, like a
Hmm.
sergeant or something. Like, usually we think of military, you're thinking of doing high school and then going to, going to basic boot camp and then enlisting, being a private, going up that way. So this is like, it's a way to, it's the ways you can become an officer, like through RTC out of college. You can go to like the West Point Naval Academy, those service academies, or you can do like an OCS, which is like an after college thing. But that's what I did. So definitely, I'd say the first 2 years I did RTC, I was struggling with it. And definitely, I had to get medical waivers
Oh,
to like
wow.
officially get in. Yes, that was I struggle with the military thing to officially get in. So with RTC, most people do 4 years, but sometimes you can do like two. If
Mhm.
you're a special case, you can join as like a junior or like a sophomore or junior, and then still commission the same time as everyone else. So what
Oh,
they did
wow.
with me, they were like, "Hey, we can't allow you to officially contract, like sign your name, be officially in until you get all these medical waivers." Because I had one for color blindness and I had one for eating issues, is what it was. So it took me 2 years of going to these doctors and basically proving to them, because you're thinking a doctor was the one that diagnosed it, right? First, they never diagnosed it as like anorexia or whatever, because it really wasn't, but it was definitely eating issues. Um,
Yeah.
so a doctor classified it as that. So I had to prove to the doctor to basically say that their classification was wrong, which is a really hard thing to do for a doctor. They're a doctor, they
Yeah.
know better than you. For them to take back what they originally diagnosed is, hard thing. So I had to do a whole bunch of tests. And I had one that they said took a gamble on me. They were like, "Hey man, you've shown tons of improvement, from what your parents have seen and stuff." And they were like, I officially got the waiver like before junior year, so it took me like 2 years to get it. But they were like, "You're definitely not 100% yet, but on the path we're going on, I'm comfortable, saying that it was a
Mm.
misdiagnosis type thing." And then that went up through the thing, had to get approved and stuff. But yeah, so the first 2 years of that program still struggled, with it. I would say starting junior year was when I was
Okay.
like junior year when I was when I was solid. I think kind of comfortably over any bad tendencies and stuff like that.
Right. Do you feel like that motivated you? Like, just this is something I really want to do, so I need to get this under
Yeah.
control.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, 'cause it was, it was, obviously, here I am. But yeah, definitely it was a goal. It was, here I need to, and it definitely drove me to try to fix it. Like, 'cause at the end of the day, no one could fix it with me. I was like, if I don't fix this, I'm not going to get in. I'm not, that was it, because that's a big, eating disorders are a big one, for the Army. And if they classify it as an actual anorexia or like, bulimia and some stuff, that's a big no-go.
Oh,
And so they were, yeah. So it was definitely a big driving force for sure to be like, hey, I need to get my butt into gear. I can't, stop beating around the bush. I need to, look at myself, had to take a long look at the mirror, and be, completely honest with myself. Like I said, take that step back from waste the situation and be like, yo, man, you're, Nathan, you're messing up. Like I said, you're wrong. Here's how. And then I was like, here, let me try a couple things. Let me take this risk. And then, obviously kind of paid off for sure. But yeah, it's definitely a driving force in me, wanting to get better for sure.
yeah. I mean, anything that you're working towards is definitely a big motivator in
Yeah.
bettering yourself.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you said that eating disorders are a big thing. You said they're a big no-no,
Yeah.
obviously.
Big disqualification. Yeah. So,
Is it, does that happen often, do you think?
I would say there's probably a good amount of people that try to get in the military that are denied because they've had past eating issues before. I would say a good amount, because if it's on your record, they're thinking, right, eating disorders and eating issues are, they're caused by high stress, usually situations. With
Mm-hmm.
me, it was the, you know parvo thyroid, shock of, going from here athletically down to here, it was a whole lot of stuff, very high stress situations. You're thinking like, if you're in a high stress situation in the military, what's going to happen? Like,
Yeah.
eating disorder, it's not just about the body, it's about, the mind, that's what we're, talking about this stuff, right? It's about, kind of the stability of your mind. So, if you're in a crazy high stress situation, what's gonna happen then? So it's just kind of
Yeah.
a gamble that, it's a gamble that they don't have to, they're not required to take at all. Like I said, military is not for everyone. They don't have to accept everyone. That's why they have the certain disqualifications. So if they see that, that's just it's a risk that they just may not want to take, unless you can prove them that, you're completely fine. And like you said, in my case, I kind of, snuck, I finessed it a little bit, they said it proved, I said, prove, yes, I proved, that's the only reason I got in was because, I got that doctor to pull back her, diagnosis and be like, yeah, man, this was a misdiagnosis on, a doctor's part and stuff. So,
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah, so
That's awesome. So
yeah,
you
so
said they
luckily,
also they consulted your parents as well in terms of determining whether you were still struggling or not.
yeah. And
That's
so my parents took
interesting.
her, yeah. So definitely they, uh, yeah, the doctor who was doing it, like I said, we're gonna take a gamble on here, but it was my parents telling the doctor that, it was okay too, because, I would say my mom was kind of more hesitant on it. My dad was like, you can do it, you're good. But my mom was,
Hmm.
kind of more hesitant on it. And eventually, she was like, hey, we'll, we think you're good too, and we'll tell the doctor that too. So it's definitely they consulted me and my parents for sure on that.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
really like how they bring other people in, because anybody who struggles with mental health, you kind of learn to put a mask on.
Oh, fake it till you make it. That's what I did. I faked it till I make it. Absolutely. You hide,
Right.
you learn to hide stuff, and especially, unfortunately, you almost become a kind of deceptive person. Almost, like I said,
Hmm.
with that mask, you learn to hide certain things and only share certain things and try to portray, that everything's completely good and that, you're completely fine, which, isn't the case for sure. So you almost need that outside, secondary, tertiary opinion, um, on the subject, because, at the end of the day, who knows if I was telling the truth and I was saying, the doctor didn't know, they didn't live with me, I could have been, lying out of my butt, honestly, and so
Yeah.
they needed that secondary kind of verification on that to make sure.
Yeah. I think that's awesome, because if anybody knows you best, it's probably going to be your parents.
Yeah, and they said they saw everything as much as I thought I was hiding stuff. They saw everything, so, I wasn't
Hmm.
I wasn't as sneaky as I thought I was, that's for sure. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Um, n- who would you say was most influential to you, eh, other than yourself, obviously, and just
Yeah.
motivation to get better? Just in your journey, who would you say was the most influential people in your life?
Ooh. I would say definitely parents for sure. As much as I, fought back at them during the whole entire thing, parents for sure. And then I would say, it sounds stupid, but, the people I was watching on YouTube and stuff that I was finding, I had, because there was two, like I said, it was one, it was that army officer dude, and it
Hmm.
was another dude who, his name's Furious Pete. He's a competitive eater dude, crazy good, but,
Oh.
big old strong dude, competitive eater, who started with an eating disorder, and now he's a competitive eater. And just seeing these people that start really skinny, that were struggling, it was seeing that they were struggling with the exact same stuff. And as much as I thought that I was like, you know I'm the only person like this, I
Hmm.
was seeing them do the exact same tendencies, and I was like, ah, crap, I'm seeing myself in these people, and seeing them completely turn around. And it was seeing that made me realize that it was like possible. So it sounds very stupid, but yeah, seeing
No.
seeing videos of people like that on YouTube, made me, like I said, maybe realize that, like, oh, maybe I can do it. It gave me a little bit of hope and a little bit of push to take that risk, to,
Yeah.
and obviously paid off for sure. But yeah, so parents and watching videos on the subject at, YouTube and stuff. So, because I would type in bodybuilding, eating disorder, or some stuff like that. I would try to,
Yeah.
I would, like I said, I'm a very scientific mind. I tried to research the heck out of it. That's
Right.
kind of what I found and stuff. So, end of the day, it definitely helped for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's half the reason that they put out those videos, is not only to help
Oh,
themselves, but to help other
no.
people.
That's what it was. Exactly. It was like, because they knew the same stuff that I'm kind of figuring out now. It's, there's a lot of people that struggle with it. They don't talk about it. So they're like, it was definitely a thing of, here's what I went through, and if I can do, it was a lot of, if I can do it, so can you type thing. Which I think is extremely, extremely helpful. So.
Oh yeah. Because if it's something people don't talk about, you're going to feel like you're a weirdo.
You feel like you're a weirdo, and you feel like you're alone is the thing. And I felt very alone for sure for a while. Even though I had a solid friend group that would always continue to, talk to me and stuff. I isolated myself. So that's on me being stupid. But yeah, definitely felt very alone during the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got out of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually really impressive that you did it for the most part on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like your education in biology probably helped a little bit with that,
A little
because you're
bit.
like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't
But
how the
definitely,
body
yeah.
works.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it's definitely a lot of my own, and that's what I'm pretty proud of that. It was definitely, like I said, doctors, as much as they like to help, maybe it had some impact, but realistically, it was it was me getting myself out of it, which is why I'm proud. Which is why I kind of say I would. I don't think I wouldn't like to go through it again. That's absolutely sure, but I don't think I would change it, because it proved to myself that I could, I could do it. I like proving to myself that I can, do these hard, difficult things and stuff. And like I said, they form the way you kind of act these experiences and stuff. So yeah, definitely proud that I was able to, kind of, do it on my own. And maybe not everyone can do it on their own, but
Yeah.
if it's the type of thing, like I said, I'm gonna say the same stuff before. I mean, if I can do it, so can everyone. People that are doing this, struggle with the same stuff, they can do it too. Because I'm nothing special, at all. So.
Well, I think there's not so much that people can't do it, but they have to want to do it.
They want it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what happened? Did we die? Are you back?
There we go. I'm back. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm getting random spam calls, and it was like showing up, and I tried to end it, and I accidentally ended this one.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. We're almost done. I just wanted to, at this point, ask you now, if there's anything you're doing in particular that you'd like to promote or advertise, or
Yeah, not crazy. You say what I've liked that I've been able to do through my platform. Like I said, I've been able to do a whole lot of I like giving to charities and stuff. And that said, I don't like I don't like to hide anything. I don't make a whole lot of money off of any social media, but I can get a lot for causes and stuff, which is really nice. I think, like promoting certain things. So I've been able to do a lot for soldiers, like I said, different and that's kind of, I'll scroll through my messages and stuff, and if there's some stuff that I feel like I can help out with, like I've helped a good amount of soldiers. If people have tried to come up to me with like surgeries and stuff, or like there's one family who had their father die like just a couple weeks ago, so I was able to like said like nothing that makes me special, but just the reach I have now, was able to kind of raise awareness and pay for their kind of like memorial and holiday stuff for this mom and everything. So like I do that, and I kind of want to definitely start pushing. It seems like people like this, because I do a decent amount of fitness stuff too. It seems like people like this, eating issue stuff. So I kind of want to like work on pushing that a little bit more. I've done a couple of videos, but people seem to like it, so kind of doing that. I want to definitely continue on finding kind of these like causes that I like and I feel like I can help out with, and continue to help out with them for sure. So
right.
Yeah, definitely it's all about trying to get back. Yeah, trying to use what I have to get back. Like I said, I don't have much, but it's I'm able to raise awareness for stuff pretty easily, which I think is really cool. So yeah, definitely kind of keep pushing that forward.
Yeah, I
for
mean
sure.
That's quite admirable, I must say, because most people are in social media for themselves. So
yeah, like I said, that's the thing is Yeah, I always do it for fun. I've always done it for fun, and I still do it for fun or whatever. I got lucky. I'm nothing special. I got lucky. I got lucky with a couple videos, and I was consistent, and I spam post a lot a day, and here we are. I guess I have a personality or something, so people kind of drawn to that. So, but yeah, definitely have always done for fun, which and if I can do something, that I do for fun to help other people, I think that's a pretty cool thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's super rewarding. I
Mhm.
mean, for everybody all around.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
like
that's
the ripple.
awesome.
It's like the ripple effect where it's like, because I'll read some, even though I don't, I can't answer them all or anything like that, but I definitely
Yeah.
read most of them, and it's like, being able to affect people that you would have never heard about or met in real life ever. It's kind of that big
Mm-hmm.
long ripple effect. Like I can touch people across the country.
Yep.
Like and I without even knowing that I do, which is, like I said, it's a really cool thing you can do nowadays with a platform. So
Right. Right. That's
yeah.
so awesome, though.
Yeah.
Well, I would also like to thank you for serving. That's
Oh, thank you for
very
your support.
important as
Appreciate
well.
it.
Yeah, no problem. If it weren't for you guys, who knows where we'd be. Um, so I always like to ask if in like a year, if you're able to be gotten a hold of, we could do like an update.
I would absolutely be down for an update. That'd be super cool. So yeah,
Awesome.
definitely keep me on the list for that. That'd be super. I'd like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm trying to do it with everybody. I'm trying to, because it's always nice to see where they are now, to see if,
yeah, see
especially
how
with
much
social
we've done.
media, it grows so fast
Yeah.
that,
To see, like I said, who knows? I may be still stable, or I may go up or down. Who knows? It'd be cool to see, what it's changed in a year. So
oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. I really
I
appreciated
appreciate
it.
it. No,
And
thank you for having me at SIG. Yeah, this is the first one of these I've done. This is pretty cool. So
good. Well, I'm glad
yeah,
I can be the first one, and hopefully
there you
now
go.
more people will reach out to you because you
Yeah,
have a
that'd be
good
sweet.
story.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, it's not a story that like I feel like a lot of people can relate with, for sure. So, and hopefully
Yeah.
can help people out in the process with that.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much, and I'll be in touch.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye. Please show Nathan some love and support on his social media, which is linked below, and check out our Instagram for guests and more information. Have a good one.